hold on. Let me ask you something. If you had billions of dollars, access to private islands, and the power to make witnesses disappear, would you write down the names of your accomplices? Yeah, me neither. So when Diddy's name mysteriously vanished from the Epstein files while everyone around him is mentioned Jay-Z, Bill Gates, Prince Andrew, you have to wonder, was he left out or was he protected? 50 Cent just dropped a bombshell theory that connects dots nobody else would dare touch, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. This isn't just celebrity gossip anymore. This is about power, blackmail, and a system that protects its own. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will change how you see Hollywood forever.
One person who wasn't in the Epstein files was Diddy. And this person said the reason why Diddy wasn't in these files was because he was his competition. So I was like, man,
he was whose competition?
Epstein.
Oh,
Diddy was Epstein's competition.
No way.
Diddy wasn't at none of the Epstein parties or at the islands.
That's crazy.
Now here's where this gets absolutely insane. The Department of Justice just dumped 3 million pages of Epstein files. Think about that number. 3 million pages. That's not a filing cabinet, that's a library of corruption. And buried in those documents, one name appears over and over again. Sean J. Z. Carter. Not once. Not twice. Dozens of times. According to the files, Epstein wasn't just collecting blackmail, he was using entertainment as a weapon. The CEO of Barclays literally told Epstein that the reason there's no revolution in the streets is because hip-hop culture has pacified the masses. And who's mentioned as the person buying off the community? Jay-Z. But here's the million-dollar question. If Jay-Z's name is all over these files, if they were meeting regularly, why is Diddy, his best friend, his business partner, someone in the exact same circles, completely absent? You don't just accidentally skip over one of the most powerful men in entertainment. Either the files are incomplete, or Diddy's name is still redacted for a reason. And according to multiple sources, that reason might be the most disturbing part of this entire story.
Now, this is a tip back in 2009 that was sent to the FBI that references Jay-Z, Harvey Weinstein, and Pusha T. It says, on July 10th of 2019 at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time, someone called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to identify herself as a victim of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and others. This person said in approximately 1994, she revealed herself as a past victim of abuse by Epstein. She described the abuse that occurred during parties, and she also described someone as a friend of someone. In approximately 1996, she revealed that she resided with someone somewhere. An unknown man abducted someone from her home when she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, known as Jay-Z. This person claimed that Harvey Weinstein inserted his fingers into... She believed that she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. This person estimated that she was abducted on 7 occasions, awaking each time in an indoor setting. She said that she suffered abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein participated. She claims that she recalled Leon Black and William Barr, the current United States Attorney General, being present during some of the occasions of the abuse.
And that's when 50 Cent entered the chat. Now, if you know 50, you know he lives for moments like this. This man has been trying to expose Diddy for 2 decades. He's been called obsessed, petty, even paranoid. But what if he wasn't wrong? What if he just saw it before everyone else did? When those Epstein files dropped and Jay-Z's name started trending, 50 didn't waste a second. He posted the headlines with a caption that sent the internet into a frenzy.
You know 50 Cent was somewhere stretching his fingers like, another post. 50 probably woke up, saw the headlines and said, God is good. 50 Cent jumped on Instagram and posted the article on his page and wrote the caption, I know I'm late on this, but this is kinda crazy. What do you do to get thrown into that mix? Then he posted a picture of Jay-Z and wrote the caption, "Damn, they got my man Jay in the Epstein files. I gotta do a doc on this." Bro, don't tell me you about to do a Jay-Z documentary that's gonna be even more spicier than the Diddy one you dropped. Now, we all know that 50 lives for moments like this. This is like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and tax season combined in one. 50 don't even need facts. He needs content.
So let me paint you a picture. Imagine two operations running simultaneously. Same methods, same targets, same goal, blackmail the most powerful people on Earth. One's on a private island in the Caribbean. The other's in a mansion in Los Angeles. One's run by Jeffrey Epstein. The other? Sean Diddy Combs. Both had cameras everywhere. Epstein's victims testified about hidden recording devices all over his properties. Diddy's accusers say the exact same thing. Cameras in every bedroom, every bathroom, recording everything. And here's what makes this truly chilling. When the FBI raided both locations, they found thousands of hours of footage, but conveniently, almost none of it has been released. The government claims it doesn't exist, victims say otherwise. So where did it go? And who's on those tapes that makes them so dangerous? Some people think Diddy and Epstein were competitors. I think they were partners. And the reason Diddy's name isn't in the files is because if one asset goes down, you don't expose the other. You protect the operation.
Jeffrey Epstein's victims have long said they believe they were being filmed by the sex offender. And this footage from a spy cam style camera inside Epstein's Palm Beach house appears to show just that. The footage has been obtained for the first time by Channel 4 News. Because the quality is so grainy, during our investigation we analysed it frame by frame, and we've slowed it down here so that you can see what's happening. A man, likely Epstein himself, at one point looks towards the hidden device. Images of what seems to be his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as what appears to be several women or girls. So how do we know what this is and where it comes from? Epstein's Palm Beach property was raided by law enforcement in 2005, where police filmed this footage. Pause it here. You can see his office in the corner of the ground floor living area. This is the exact same office captured in the spy cam footage.
Now, before you dismiss this as internet conspiracy theory, consider this: multiple celebrities have tried to warn us. Kanye West named Jay-Z and Pusha T years before these files came out. He was called crazy, canceled, destroyed. Nicki Minaj just went on a Twitter rampage saying, and I quote, "These people have been sacrificing children to gain and maintain power." She's not the first. Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million and told us Hollywood was evil. Cat Williams has been screaming about this for decades. When do we start listening? How many people have to risk their careers, their reputations, their lives to tell us the same story before we admit it might be true?
Here's what Nicki Minaj had to say. She wrote, "Your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up." And yeah, she's not the first person in Hollywood to say that. I just don't know how much could be in our face anymore before we wake up and realize these people are ruling over us, and they win when we're fighting with each other. That's just the reality. I really don't see how you can have a ton of success in Hollywood and not be in the club, because Hollywood was founded upon this. I just don't really care what you call me. It's time for everyone to wake up.
And Kanye didn't just hint at it, he laid it out plain as day. Watch this.
People like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living our people, so how the they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best for somebody else? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth about anything, they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. Man. Liars are now the face of our culture.
See what I mean? He said it out loud, on camera. And what happened? He was labeled mentally unstable, dropped by every corporate partner, and erased from mainstream conversation. But here's what they didn't expect. The files proved him right. And it's not just American celebrities and billionaires. This goes global. When you see who else is in these documents, you'll realize this isn't an American scandal, it's an elite power structure that crosses borders, governments, and continents, starting with British royalty.
Let's bring in writer and broadcaster Esther Krakow joining us from the UK. Esther, this is a shocker. He is a disgrace. What more can the royal family do? They obviously want him to hide from public sight forever.
Yeah, I think the latest basically series of the Jeffrey Epstein files is kind of what pushed the king over the edge. And I'm sure he's kind of slowly losing his mind because they wish the scandal would go away. But obviously the complete lack of judgment by the Yorkses, so Sarah Ferguson and the prince formerly known as Andrew, has just kind of made this much worse. I mean, I would say this latest entrancement has shown actually the greed of Sarah Ferguson. But on Prince Andrew, there was a picture that is now circulating of him on all fours hovering over a woman that we don't know, that is not moving. And obviously this doesn't necessarily suggest any wrongdoing, but it just shows the kind of the degree of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And I think the real scandal that people just can't get over is the fact that he actually repeatedly denied having any sort of contact with Jeffrey Epstein after his conviction for pedophilia and and that's clearly proven to be false. Even Sarah Ferguson, in an email exchange a couple of years, I believe, after he was convicted, said that she wanted to be his pet. So clearly this is not someone who had disavowed this man until they actually had a public falling out, I think in 2011, where they got the ties completely.
See, some of these Sarah Ferguson emails are pretty disturbing too. It seems that she's aware at least of the role of girls and beautiful women in all of this. She seems to be encouraging and even offering up people.
Now, I need to warn you, what comes next is extremely disturbing. We're about to discuss allegations that go beyond blackmail, beyond trafficking. We're talking about crimes so depraved that most people can't even process them. If you need to step away, I understand. But if you want the full truth about what these files reveal, you need to hear this.
Jeffrey Epstein had a secret child who was taken from its teenage mother at birth. This according to newly unearthed documents from the investigation into Epstein's crimes. Buried in the latest batch of the Epstein files are claims that Epstein fathered multiple children, including one by a teenager. In an anonymous diary entry, a woman describes how at 16 or 17 years old, she gave birth to a baby who was taken away from her just moments after delivery. Included is a copy of a pregnancy scan dated to 20 weeks gestation. She alleges Ghislaine Maxwell supervised the birth and writes that Epstein told her he wanted to create a superior gene pool. The diary was shared by the woman's lawyers, with federal prosecutors investigating Epstein and Maxwell. The Times was able to confirm the woman's real name, but has chosen to protect her identity. I was not able to verify the woman's claims, and if true, what happened to the newborn. It's never been publicly confirmed that Epstein fathered any children, and there's no mention of any offspring in a will he drew up in the years before his 2019 death in a New York prison cell. But several names in the will have...
And if you think victims are making this up, listen to Epstein's own words. In a rare interview before his arrest, he actually defends these actions. He justifies it. He acts like paying mothers for their babies makes it okay. This isn't speculation. This is coming straight from his mouth. And the scariest part, he doesn't even sound guilty. He sounds proud.
It's to be some of those videos in these latest releases, and we can play a couple of minutes of that now in which Epstein discusses being a sex offender.
Is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it, a heart.
But you earned it. We went back to this before. You earned it. You earned it advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money.
So, instead of asking me the question, should you take the money? Because I think it's a legitimate question.
Do you think it's a legitimate question?
Yes, no question. Because I think ethics is always a complicated subject, but I can tell you that with the money I gave to help try to eradicate polio in Pakistan and India. Instead of asking me whether that money should be given to these children for vaccines, I think you might want to ask their mothers who received the vaccine, who know their child now won't get polio, and ask them if Epstein should have helped these people.
Did you catch that? He didn't deny it. He just reframed it as philanthropy. Ask the mothers in Pakistan if I should have helped. That's not a defense, that's a confession wrapped in PR spin. And this is the man who had dinners with Bill Gates, flew with Prince Andrew, and advised some of the wealthiest people on Earth. So here's the question. If this is what he admits on camera, what was he doing that he won't talk about? Let's talk about Bill Gates, because his connection to Epstein might be the most revealing of all.
Here's Bill Gates responding. Go ahead, Rob.
Knew a lot of very rich people, and he was saying he could get them to give money to global health. You know, in retrospect, that was a dead end, and I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
You've no doubt seen the allegations, including some of them from the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself.
Draft.
That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that.
The problem is some of the things that he has sent, some of the information about other people that has come up in those files has been true. Why would he do this and say this about you, do you think?
It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Bill Gates says he never went to the island. He says he only attended dinners. He says the emails were never sent. But here's what we know is true. According to the files, someone in Gates's employment had to procure medicine for him to deal with consequences of sex with Russian girls. His own wife, Melinda, filed for divorce, citing his relationship with Epstein as a breaking point. And emails show he met with Epstein multiple times, even after Epstein's conviction. So either Bill Gates is lying or someone very close to him is. And he's not alone. The files reveal that Howard Lutnick, now the U.S. Commerce Secretary, took his entire family to Epstein's island in 2012. His wife, his 4 children, their nannies. This is after Epstein was already a convicted offender. Think about that. A ranking government official brought his children to a place we now know was a hub for abuse, and even Elon Musk appears in the files with emails that make it look like he was begging for invitations. The richest man on the planet, desperate to get close to Jeffrey Epstein. Why? What could Epstein offer that Elon couldn't buy?
And a top Justice Department official says the review of the Jeffrey Epstein files is over. The same official indicated there would be no new charges. Now the Trump administration is facing backlash from Epstein's survivors and Democrats. This was California Congressman Ro Khanna yesterday.
There is a demand for elite accountability, but the survivors' lawyers that I've talked to have said that the survivors are still upset. They're upset that many of their names accidentally came out without redactions, and they want to make sure the rest of the files come out.
CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us from our Washington bureau with more on this. Scott, you've been sifting through as much of this as you can. What's in this so-called final batch?
It's a process. We're still working through millions of pages here, Errol. And it's worth noting these were released more than 40 days after the legal deadline for the Department of Justice to do so. No one besides Epstein and former associate Ghislaine Maxwell has been charged, but the Department of Justice insisting its work is done has only fueled more controversy.
So here's where we are. The Department of Justice says the investigation is closed. No new charges. The files are released, but heavily redacted. The footage exists, but will never see daylight. And Diddy's name? Still mysteriously absent despite being connected to everyone who is named. 50 Cent says he's making a documentary that will expose it all. 300 hours of unreleased footage that directly implicates the biggest names in entertainment, business, and government. Whether that documentary ever sees the light of day remains to be seen. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that people who threaten to expose this level of power don't usually get to finish their work. But we're watching, we're documenting, and we're not letting this story die. If you want to stay updated on every new revelation, every document release, every connection that emerges from this web of corruption, subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop your theory in the comments. Are Diddy and Epstein connected by coincidence, social overlap, or something much darker? Because I know what I think. And after everything we've covered, I think you do too.